What is going on, everybody? Depraved here. We're back with the Pound and Slash Marvel Media Podcast. I'm Depraved. This is Pound.
I'm here.
And he's been acting out.
It's a Saturday, y'all. Sue me. I did 10 hours of dealing with crazy people all day.
Alright, so we originally thought this was also only going to take one episode, but after the notes I had to take, this will be 2 episodes.
Yeah,
so come back Thursday for the second half of this, but this is our overall M.O.D.O.K review, just released on Hulu a couple days ago.
Yeah.
It's a pretty solid show.
Solid.
Pretty solid show.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Is Apocalypse gave us our first question from somebody outside.
Hey, okay.
I answered him personally.
Oh, shit.
But I will answer it here as well.
Cool. Thank you, It's Apocalypse friend.
After you answer it. The question is, what is one thing you feel Marvel needs to change?
Oh, dear. Nothing really. They've been solid so far. How about this? Get all the TV shows. I mean, I know they're doing it, but just make it official. Just bring everybody from the TV show and ABC. Just bring them all there. That's my only change. Other than that, they've really been hitting out the park. So
I had 2 things.
You had 2 things, okay.
And both of them I think are equally important.
Okay.
The first one I told was I feel like they need to stop being scared to make things more than PG-13.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like there are some characters that don't get to be themselves because it's PG-13.
Right. And
there are some storylines they'll never be able to do because it's PG-13.
Right.
And I'm not saying they need to go on this crazy everything's rated R rant, like
right.
rave either.
Like, because Deadpool will stay rated R, which that's pretty cool.
Deadpool needs to. But
yeah, it needs to. Yeah.
There are just some heroes that some stories should probably be TV-14 or NC-17 or something like that. Like,
right. Well, we have mine.
Nothing off the top of my head.
Okay.
I'm just saying there are some stories that just aren't going to fit within a PG-13 setting.
Right.
But they'll try to find a way to make it fit, and I feel like it pulls away from that story. The other thing, and I have harped on this, not so much on the podcast. I don't know if I've ever actually mentioned it on the podcast, so I feel like this is a good time to say it.
Oh, yeah, right.
I really think Marvel needs to stop changing people's race, gender, sexual orientation.
Yeah.
Reason being, the people that want, everyone that should have their representation, that things shouldn't be changed to fit within that representation. They should be having their own representation.
Right. Like the Ancient One, like they were arguing about, like,
which we talk about that here in a little bit.
Right.
But the Ancient One being changed from a guy,
right,
from an Asian guy to a white girl. Or half the Eternals team is no longer who they were in the comics.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so changing race, okay.
Things like that.
Right.
Not just race, sex as well.
Well, sex, yeah.
I mean, I definitely agree, 100%. Representation needs to be on all boards.
Right.
But create new people.
Because Marvel can do that. They have done where they created new people before.
Right. Like they actually just created in the comics a new LBGT hero for the X-Men.
Oh, that's
that actually looks really cool. And I would love to read more about their story.
Really?
But
huh.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that. Cool.
So those are my 2 things.
See, I knew he had more than me. I was like, hey, don't say the thing.
Here's looking at you, Superman.
Right.
So, with that being said.
Because he got Batman on.
I am wearing Batman.
He said, if you don't like it, sue me.
If you don't like it, this being a Marvel podcast, send me a 3X Marvel basketball jersey for when it's 90 degrees up in the loft.
Oh,
and
my God.
we'll rock it. But until then, you get to watch half my fat ass body in the screen. All right. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the news. Go ahead and start it.
Right. Kevin Feige showed regret for...
You had it right for casting.
Okay, my bad. Kevin Feige is showing regret for casting of the Ancient One. They choose Tilda Swinton, because they want it to not be so stereotypical. I'm gonna get this. I'm like,
oh, don't blame it on tired. This is how you talk all the time. All right.
So I'll blame it on tired. I will blame it on tired. I'll blame it on tired people.
This actually just relates to what I just talked about in
about
the opening question.
Yeah.
I mean, so here's the thing. I wish they wouldn't have changed it, because I would like for them, again, to stay true to the comics.
Right.
And even Kevin Feige said he kind of wished, like he now wishes he would not have gone that route.
Right. Huh.
But I also understand why they did it, because they didn't want to just cast some Asian dude to be that stereotypical Asian character.
Yeah. Okay.
But at the same time, I don't know. Like, I feel like this one specifically didn't affect my entertainment as much as some others have in the past.
Right.
Because again, I didn't ever read Doctor Strange. I never even knew the Ancient One was actually a dude originally until people started complaining about it.
Yeah, people were complaining. The toxic Marvel fans come out. They were like, "Yo, what you mean?" And they were like raging over it. It's like,
right.
Yo, what
it's just
happened?
Doctor Strange was never a character that I was ever like, "Oh, he's really cool."
Right.
Now he is, because they've done an amazing job.
But
yeah, so that was. Yeah. All right. This is a fun one. Disney released something called Fury Files on Disney Plus, which is based on heroes and villains of the animated universe.
Huh, okay.
So if you go, I actually watched a few of them today, so that way I knew what the hell I was talking about. So if you go to Disney Plus and you go down to their animated sections at the very bottom, their newest one that shows is called Fury Files, and they're little 2 to 4 minute segments showing off characters from their animated shows. So like the first episode's Hawkeye, and they go into Power Man.
Right. So it's like more, they give you like their own little.
And it's Fury off of Avengers Assemble, giving dossiers of these characters.
That's dope.
So it's cool, and they show scenes from both Avengers Assemble and Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. They kind of mix them together. Some actual Spider-Man as well.
I like that. Okay.
So it's a pretty cool little thing, but it gets really old really quick, because it's like, okay, so it's 4 minutes long, almost every episode, but it always starts off the first 30 seconds is the same of every one. It's him being like, unless it's a villain. The villains start off a little bit different.
Right.
But each hero starts off the same, each villain starts the same, where they'll be like, there are thousands of heroes planted all over the earth.
Right.
And we need a hero specifically that does this, and they'll say something like that's super strong.
Right.
There's Power Man.
So eventually it will get kind of, it's because it's repetitive.
It gets repetitive, kind of boring. It's just something fun to watch through if you've got a few extra minutes to watch one here or watch one there. I also found out when I was doing this, they actually released Legends videos for Zemo and Sharon Carter that I never knew they did.
Oh shit. Really?
Which they must have released them when they showed up on the show in Falcon and Winter Soldier. But they never said anything. So
Right.
I never knew there were new character Legends things. But yeah. So if you, like I said, if you have a few minutes to blow, check it out.
Blow. Sorry, I'm immature. I caught that.
Go
ahead. Jake Tapper says Ryan Reynolds shouldn't have been Deadpool. What the? I'm sorry, by principle, and that if you first started in DC or Marvel, you should stay there. Wow, Jake Tapper, damn.
All right, so
mean.
I specifically put this in the news because first off, Jake Tapper, most of us don't even know who you are.
Yeah, unless you are really...
You're obviously famous enough to have an opinion that people have noticed and have heard.
I read about that. Wow.
But at the same time, Jake Tapper, allow me to also say you could fuck all the way off.
Right, what? He put his own money in that shit, man. What are you talking about, bro?
Just because Ryan Reynolds played a failure of a Green Lantern character.
Right, of a Green Lantern. He played an awesome...
that he didn't honestly really want to do once he started.
He said he never wanted to do that character. Right.
I'm just saying.
And then when he did Deadpool the first one, they turned it down. He had to put his own hard-on money for everything.
If Jason Momoa or dude that plays Superman Henry Cavill decide they want to turn around and be a Marvel, let him be a Marvel. Who are you to say it shouldn't be? By principle. By principle, you're a fucking nobody who shouldn't be having the job they have.
Right. Exactly.
See how that works? It's kind of a dickish thing to say, right?
And I'm like, because I know who Jake Tapper. I know, because my parents, they watch him a lot, but it's like, really, Jake Tapper? You don't... I never really picture him a comic book person. I mean, but then again, I shouldn't say, because I know a lot of people are comic people, but I'm like, wow, like, it's like those, it's like Mickey Rourke. Stop talking. Like, literally stop talking. Like, you stop. Just, yeah, no one cares.
All right, it is rumored that Omega Red will show up in Black Widow.
Huh.
That is a new rumor that came out this week.
Interesting.
Do you know who Omega Red is?
He was not the samurai. He's not. I mean,
you're thinking Silver Samurai?
No.
Omega Red was an X-Men villain.
Yeah, he's an X-Men villain. He literally has all red.
He has a bunch of red on, and he has metal tentacles that come out of his arms.
Yeah. Tentacles. Yes.
Tentacle porn.
Tentacle.
Yeah.
Porn.
So it is rumored that Omega Red.
How you feel about that? Now let me ask you how you feel about that, to have an X-Men.
All right, Red.
If it is.
How do you feel about that?
I knew you was gonna say that.
No, I honestly, as long as I'm cool with them starting to mix in.
Right. Well, yeah, we
X-Men villains,
if it does happen,
characters
yeah,
here
cool.
and there, like the mutants are there now. Let them do their thing.
Right. I'm cool with everything. Black Widow's gonna be awesome. It needs to be over though. But finally, Anthony Mackie wants to be Cap a lot longer than Chris Evans was. He would like to be Cap for around 20 years. Huh. I mean,
Yeah, he was in an interview. He was like, "I would love to be a Cap for at least 2 decades."
Let him do it.
I'm here for it.
Fuck it.
I'm here for it. I typed this in and I was actually immediately like, you know what?
No, fuck it. Yeah,
I really like Anthony Mackie a lot more now.
If he wants to do it,
You know,
let
you
him
got
play his
Tom
character.
Holland talking about I want to be Spider-Man for 20, 30 years.
Yeah,
He's saying
that's
he wants to be
crazy.
Cap for 20, 30 years. Sebastian Stan's like, I'll be here as long as Marvel needs me.
Yes, he even came out and said, "Yeah, I want to still keep."
Like, these are
doing
the
these
attitudes we need. Hey, Chris Evans, you see how this works?
Right. They'll be like, "I'm just gonna be old." Like, no, you failed.
I have kid. I understand why Chris Evans is getting out now. I mean,
Right.
but I'm just saying, you know, if I had a chance to play a superhero
Oh, yeah, somebody told you sit down and say
for 30, 40
Right.
years,
It's like
I would legit be like, I don't need any other roles. Marvel's going to pay me millions of dollars to be this character.
It's like a sports contract. We'll give you $20
Yeah.
million for 5 years. Like, let's go, take it. And I'm like, for me just to be in like 3 or 4 movies, bro, I'm in. Like, I'm all in. What do you mean?
Right. And then the last bit of news, Ant-Man 3 is confirmed to start filming in July.
Ant-Man 3, that's what's up.
That was confirmed by the dude that plays the cop. Was it the cop?
The dude who was in WandaVision, the one that because he was trying to learn that card trick and he finally got it. And some people pointed that on TikTok. Hello, they pointed it out. They said, "Hey, he finally know how to do that little card trick." Like, yeah, because he was always asking.
You know there were people way before TikTok that found that out, right?
I know it's weird.
Get off of TikTok, Ralph. You're older than that. All right.
I'll put that on the podcast. Like, yo, it don't matter. TikTok's awesome.
TikTok will never be on the podcast. Don't listen to it.
We're gonna do everything.
No. Now, there's a bit of news I did not put on here. Has absolutely nothing to do with Marvel.
Okay.
But I would like to say, rest in peace to Kentaro Miura.
Yeah, the guy from.
He's the guy that he was the author of Berserk, which is actually it's a manga that Dark Horse translated here for America.
Yeah, it was Dark.
It is my favorite fantasy story of all time, and I felt like it deserved to be on here, even though it's not Marvel related. So, moving on.
He died so young, man.
He did. It was tragic, and I'm bummed, but
yeah, I mean,
gotta move on.
Yeah.
Move on.
All right. Something funny. Let's go.
So, again, we are going to do 5 episodes, or 5. We're going to cover 5 episodes in this episode of the podcast. Come back Thursday for the next podcast for the next 5 episodes. Next week we will be returning to covering Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, season 1. We took a break because M.O.D.O.K was new.
Hey, M.O.D.O.K. Hey.
We binged the 10 episodes in 2 days.
Binge that motherfucker like a boss.
I put up a script for the thing. It ended up longer than I thought.
And we still did 10 hours of bull.
So.
10 hours and still did this shit. Let's go. Cause I told myself I was gonna binge it. You thought I was playing. I was like, I'm gonna binge this whole thing.
Yeah. I'm gonna need your scores at the end of this.
I'll tell you as I go.
No, I mean to write them in. I don't have a pen on me though, so it's not gonna happen now.
Okay.
You're good. We'll do it later.
I got you.
All right. So,
but M.O.D.O.K though, man. Yeah.
M.O.D.O.K started on Hulu May 21st, 2021. It was done. It is the last thing being done by Marvel Animation Studios.
Huh. Really?
Yeah, I read that earlier. It runs. Now it says it's like 23 minutes an episode, but Hulu forces commercials.
Yeah,
so it is at least 30 minutes an episode.
Right. You'd be like, get these commercials. Like, well, I don't want the commercials. Like, there it is. So.
Right. There wasn't really a tomato meter score that's solid yet.
Yeah.
Not enough people have reviewed it. So I don't have that written down.
So yeah, it just like came out like 2 days ago or a day ago.
I didn't write down the entire cast because a lot of people work on this. But I did write Nathan Fillion voiced Simon Williams and Wonder Man. Whoopi Goldberg voiced Marion Pouncey Pound Cakes. Bill Hader voiced Samuel Stims and the Leader. John Hamm voiced Iron Man and Tony Stark. Patton Oswalt voiced M.O.D.O.K, among others. That's where I stopped. It is produced by Patton Oswalt, Jordan Bloom, and executively produced by Seth Green.
Which I saw the credits said, because if you ever want to see M.O.D.O.K, it has that Robot Chicken S vibe. I'm like, hey, but even though like in the humor and all that, it's like spot on like what Robot Chicken normally does. So
right.
Yeah.
Directors were Alex Kramer and Eric Towner. I'm pretty sure it's Towner. And the story editor / writer was both Patton Oswalt and Jordan Bloom as well.
Patton Oswalt, it's like you said,
Patton Oswalt is
Oswalt. Yeah. You say he pushed for this, like he wanted this show to happen. You don't get that too often from people who want to, like, I want this like go on forever, you know. So yeah.
Right. All right, now the way I did these episode walkthroughs, basically, or breakdowns, I didn't go into detail of every joke. I'm just giving you the basic storyline synopsis of the thing, but it is still very longly written. I will mention a couple of jokes that really stood out to me, and I'm sure he will as well.
I'll try not to go too in depth, but I'll try not to. I really try not to go too in depth into it.
Right. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and jump into this. Episode 1 is called If This Be M.O.D.O.K. And we start off with a past shot where M.O.D.O.K is sad because kids have been making fun of him. Mom says one day he'll change the world. It was actually a very funny way. She was like, one day your big, beautiful, womb-breaking head.
Womb-breaking head. I was like, what the f***? They made fun of me because of my head. What?
And then it transitions into him attacking the stock exchange.
Yep.
And during his monologue, Iron Man interferes and shoots him, says he was literally aiming for any other part of his body. Iron Man then is found out to be watching TV while fighting.
Right. He's like, are you watching the
British Bakery?
The British Bakery. He said, no, I'm binging it. I said, oh, that's so funny.
He
that's
didn't
what I'm
say
binging.
he was binging it.
I thought he said he was binging it.
No, M.O.D.O.K said, are you binging it?
He said, are you? Okay,
he said, nah, I'm milking it.
I'm milking it.
He said, I'm only watching 2 episodes, maybe 3 a day.
It's funny. It's like, what you trying to say? Because I milk my shit now.
So then Iron Man kicks him super hard. He flies off, and as he's flying off, he actually says who wins that season of the bakery thing.
Right.
Just to ruin it.
Right.
We didn't find out M.O.D.O.K actually had tweeted out he was going to attack, so Iron Man knew he was going to be there.
Right.
M.O.D.O.K's not smart, yo.
Man, but you really, yeah, you root for him though. In some places though, but yeah, he's not smart.
He captured Iron Man's boot by being kicked.
He's like, I got his boot. And he said, like, yeah, relish, cherish.
They celebrate with it.
And like, I want to touch him with the boot. I'm like, why? Like,
Maria, what's her name?
I thought it was Monica. Monica. And she's
just an absolute twat.
Yeah, she's just a bitch. Damn. Like, right after that, I hate it. I'm like, oh God. Like, you right?
But she made fun of him, and he was like, pretty much like, you ain't gonna ruin my mood. I got Iron Man's boot.
I mean, that's party. In a way, that's kind of a victory for him, because
right.
I mean, he didn't kill him, but he got his boot.
So then he takes an elevator home, where he's forced to take out the trash because no one else did.
Right.
M.O.D.O.K kind of treats his wife like shit.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
But we also find out AIM is super broke.
Yeah, they're very broke. Well, let's take a step back a second. Right.
So when we say M.O.D.O.K kind of treats his wife like shit, he basically treats her like she doesn't matter in terms of like she should be all about everything he's doing, and not have her own aspirations.
Yeah, she even said like, "Oh, I want to be involved." And he's like, "Yeah, I don't care about you." Like, damn, like okay,
right?
Like literally, like okay, like I mean, because she wanted to be involved in his work and everything else in his life.
So then the next day we find out AIM is broke.
Yeah, because he put out all them. This is $50 million, $10 million, and $49 for the pin, or no changing shit. I'm like, oh, okay.
And it was the $49.99 was for the program to be able to add the price tags.
Add the price tags. And like he said, oh, let's get rid of that. Like what?
And I love how they bring up the whole a knockoff Avengers toy line.
Yeah,
and he says something about Spooderman, which is a meme.
That is.
If you've ever you should know who Spooderman is on the internet.
That's funny.
But I thought that was hilarious.
He said, not, even our knockoff stuff's not selling. He said, no, they're not selling either.
No. So then during the meeting, the power goes out.
Yep.
And then everyone basically leaves because AIM's going under.
Yeah.
They don't have any money.
Belly up.
So M.O.D.O.K decides they're all going to meet at his place.
Which that was.
And him and his wife, or his wife wants him to give up AIM and let her be the breadwinner of the family.
Right. And
And he was just like, nah.
I'm not having her.
So then the grumble head dude.
Here we go. Hey.
Which one was he again?
Austin. I think it was Austin.
Was it Austin?
Austin.
I have him listed as Grumble head dude throughout most of this whole entire thing.
And that's funny because I knew his name was, so he's like, I'm Austin.
But he eventually changes to Austin as the script goes forward.
Yeah, script forward. But I thought he said his name first. I thought he said.
He probably did. I just didn't care.
Yeah, right. Well, because at the time you like.
He was a character that was just a jerk that I knew I was eventually gonna have to learn his name. I just didn't care.
Right. He's like, hi, I'm Austin. Hello. I'm like, no, nah, you got some cool stuff, bro. Awesome stuff. Like, I want you to give me your assets. Like, dang, he wants you to just join and take all your shit, bro.
So he shows up, offers to take M.O.D.O.K out.
Yeah, for dinner. Right.
For dinner, and they go to all these different places, and the entire time he's like praising things that M.O.D.O.K does well.
He found a toy.
And they eventually make it back to the Grumble headquarters.
Yeah, headquarters.
And he's like, sorry about bringing you here, but I got something I got to do this last minute.
His enthusiasm was perfect. He's like, yo, man, I'm sorry, bro. Let me just do the like that.
And he's like, I got to go in here for a minute, but there are monsters in quite literally every drawer in this office.
Right. He went.
And then, like, M.O.D.O.K's going through and just searching the drawers, and literally everything has monsters in it. And finally he opens up a drawer and finds a M.O.D.O.K toy.
He went, oh.
And he tries to get the toy from Austin.
Right.
And Austin's just not willing to give it up.
He's like, this is my
He grew up with it, and it's the one toy that survived the fire. And
then you see, and M.O.D.O.K's like, well, can I have it, though?
He's like, well, can I have it, though? And then finally, M.O.D.O.K starts clapping.
Right.
And he's like, congratulations. Little did you know I've been testing you this whole time.
Which, I mean, sometimes he is stupid, but sometimes he's not as stupid as you talking about. I think he knew.
No, he's stupid.
Yeah, I try. You try to give him some doubt here, but it's like, no.
No. At first, you're like, okay, but then you find, never mind, we'll get there.
Yeah, I forgot.
So M.O.D.O.K agrees to sell Grumble.
Yeah, he sells it. Yeah.
Or sell to Grumble.
Yeah.
Next day, when M.O.D.O.K gets to work, Grumble has changed everything within the AIM offices.
Yeah, like the torture chamber and everything.
Yeah, and M.O.D.O.K and a few others decide to take back over. And then after trying to... so he comes up with this weird scheme.
Oh, yeah,
where he's going to inject himself...
Yeah, with a dart gun
and he's going to inject himself into Austin.
And use like a brain...
And use some sort of brain thing.
Because he was testing on animals, and he got him to only do certain things. So yeah, he was... Yeah.
Right, and he decided he was going to try and control Austin to make sure he doesn't actually sign the papers.
Sign the paper like before noon or something. It was like a date, like a due date, time before it.
But as they go to shoot him into Austin... His wife steps right in front of him, but you don't know it's her at first.
Right, because you
just see this body step in
front. Oh, what the hell? I get it.
And he's like,
what the hell?
He's like,
who the hell?
Who the hell is this? And he starts going through their memories. He's like, they've been in my house.
They've been with my children.
They've watched my children.
They've
had sex with me.
Oh,
and he's like, oh. That's when he realizes it's his wife.
It's my wife.
And she's trying to have Grumble hire her to be like a spokesperson.
Right.
Or it's an ad thing or whatever
for her book. Because she has a book. She's a book person.
She's becoming a famous YouTuber, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Motivational YouTuber.
Right.
And he ends up scanning through her memories because he wants to take over her body, but he's like, I can't because it would be wrong unless she gave me permission.
And then he
finds one memory where she's
out of everything, because they was always arguing.
Where
one memory?
Well, it was never really arguing. It was always about her bangs.
Bangs, yeah, her bangs. I guess she's pregnant. My bangs,
right?
Babe, what the hell?
She's like, and then she's like, no, and then later she's like, well, guess who's really pregnant? Oh wait, no. She says, guess who's really pregnant? That's right, me. And I'm thinking about doing something with my bangs.
Right.
So everything's always about, always about her bangs.
Her fucking bangs.
But so she's trying to get this deal, and then finally he finds this memory where she says something along those lines of like, all the things you do, whether it's like fighting Iron Man, trying to take over the world, I fully support you in this. And
he's like, it's only like one thing he found, and he was like,
and he's like, she gave me permission. I'm taking over her body.
I was like, I don't think that's permission, my guy. What the fuck? Wait, how'd you? What?
So her and Austin get into this fight.
Oh man, and this just starts out like, oh, you're gonna take this pin too? Boom. Oh, I don't know what's going on, and he's literally like controlling like a robot. Man, it's crazy.
So they fight,
and Austin's like, I don't want to get hit. He's literally dodging her.
Right. So they fight, and it ends, and it basically ends because she sneezes and he flies out of her head.
She saw him like enlarge because he had like a time before he enlarges himself. So he's like, bless you. Oh, I'm here.
Right.
He's like, oh.
And then she's like, oh, you were controlling. Like she gets kind of mad. She leaves.
She's pissed off. Yeah, to the point she just leaves. So.
She leaves.
Oh yeah, she stabs Austin's. I forgot to stab his head, but yeah.
And then Austin tries to stop him, but Austin had already sent the papers in, so he officially owns AIM now.
Yeah.
And or at least he thinks he does.
Right. Hello.
And the episode basically ends with M.O.D.O.K and what's her name?
Monica? No,
Monica. Jody.
Jody
is the wife's name.
Right.
But it ends with Jody and M.O.D.O.K sitting at dinner.
Yeah, and she's like, and
then she's like, she's like, I think I want a separation.
He's like, a separation of cake? Like, oh my god! Like he was
like,
giving all these choice of foods. I'm like,
and then he's like, no, I think I want to. She's like, I think I want a divorce.
He's like,
from you, and he's like
divorce?
Dove horse?
Divorce?
Where we take a bunch of dove things and turn them and design it into a horse. And she's like, get out of here!
I thought M.O.D.O.K was gonna blast him. I was so ready for that. Like, just like implode the waiter, man. Like, I'm like, what are you like? Why are you still talking?
But yeah, he runs away.
Yep.
And then the episode ends.
That's it.
It just ends.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
All right, what's your
with this episode? I was scared to watch the rest of the show after this episode.
Yeah, because I didn't know where he was going with this for a minute. Yeah.
No, when I say I was scared, I don't mean it's not so much I didn't know where they were going with it. You're not supposed to know where they're going with things. It's supposed to be a surprise. But it wasn't funny. I didn't laugh hardly at all in the first episode.
Yeah, no. It had like little liners in there, but
a couple moments that kind of were like, heh.
Yeah, right. But it wasn't like overall like, oh, this is something funny. Like, no.
Right, and again, it's one of those episodes where they're building up who the characters are.
Right.
So I get it. It's going to be slow, but still, first episode alone, I gave a 7.
I gave it a 6.
Again, the humor wasn't hitting for me on this episode.
Yeah.
It gets better. If you saw my tweet the other day,
yo, I read your tweet too. It does get better.
You just got to give it a few episodes.
We get to this episode, bro. We get to that episode. It's gonna be
definitely
crazy.
tune in next week.
Oh yeah,
or Thursday for that podcast.
Because that's gonna be funny. Because once you get to a few episodes, and it's really just 2, to be honest. And after that, it's like, hey, this is great.
But yeah, I just. Yeah.
Overall, I get it. Like I said, it's a build up. He's M.O.D.O.K. He's M.O.D.O.K. Hey.
Right. They're showing you how much of an idiot he really is.
Yeah, and how much people just want to dog him out so badly.
So then,
even for the smallest accomplishments, but yeah.
Right. So then we get to episode 2,
which
and it's called the M.O.D.O.K that time forgot. This one's actually a pretty entertaining episode.
Yeah. No,
but it's still kind of slow. It was a little better for me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But so M.O.D.O.K is packing his stuff up into a truck.
Right, like it picks like literally right off of them. Like
right. He's trying to stall to not get kicked out.
The kids are like, I want this, and then they don't even want to Adaptoid, which he's like, what about me? He's like, I want this.
Yeah, nobody wants the Adaptoid.
And then he's like, damn. I make smoothies.
But M.O.D.O.K comes up with this plan where he's going to take his wife back in time to a Third Eye Blind concert that they had missed. And no one remembered why they had missed it. Right. But in the process, he decides he's also going to... Or no. Sorry. So he gets the time-traveling device.
Right. And poor Gary. Oh, fuck. Forgot about Gary. Gary is probably my top 5 characters in this show, because Gary,
he's a ride or die friend.
He's a ride or die. Like, the first thing he did was from episode 1. Oh, man. I didn't want the coffee anyway.
So they decide they're going to steal this time travel thing.
Oh, Lord.
And they go to this base that you don't even know what it is at first.
Yeah.
But you could definitely tell the person behind the counter works for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, he's like, how'd you get up here?
And well, they're talking, and he's like, "Yo, I'm here to sell pizza or deliver pizza
or water or something." I'm like, "What?" And he's like,
and the dude's like, "Well, first off, this is no longer what you think it is. Second off, how did you get up here?"
And it just pans out.
They pan out, and you realize they're in the helicarrier while it's flying, and it goes back in. And he's like,
he said, "Human."
He's like option 2. He says, human projectile.
He said, human what?
And Gary goes, human what? And he grabs him and he throws him into the S.H.I.E.L.D. operative.
Gary literally damn.
Gary
is
a whipping boy.
He's a pussy boy. But I mean, it really was like his first. I think he said it was like his first day. So it's like he just wants to impress the boss.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this coffee was for everyone.
I thought it's coffee for everyone. Blast his hand. They blast.
That was another problem with the first episode. By the way, it was pretty much all the trailers.
Yeah, it was
minus a couple things that happened in this episode.
Right.
So.
And his hand is gone. He's literally doing it with one arm.
This is where they kind of start to interest me in this series.
Oh, yeah. No,
because they go in and are looking for what they need to be able to time travel. And he starts going through this box, and he's like, oh, there's Cerebro. And it's the hat that the X-Men use. He tosses it behind him.
Right.
And it's like, oh, the Nullifier.
The Nullifier.
Which is what Mr. Fantastic made.
He just throws it.
And then he tosses it.
Like it's just trash.
Right. And it's like the strongest weapon in the Marvel universe. And he's just like, nope.
And then he finds the Doctor Strange.
And then he finds the doctor. He finds the prescription tablet.
He's like, rip.
And he rips a page off of it. Keeps that.
And then he just throws it. He's like, I'm gonna keep that.
And then he finds the watch he's looking for.
And then he tells Gary.
Oh, and then Gary, he's like, hey, grab that gem up there, and he grabs it.
And poor Gary, he's like, just listening.
Gary grabs it, holds onto it, puts it down by his side. He's like, oh, and by the way, that thing is extremely radioactive. Don't ever think you're having kids. And Gary's like, what?
What?
And then he's like, nothing. Just don't want you to dwell on the imaginary family you'll never have like me.
Right. And let me tell you, this is like he said, this is when it slowly started getting a little bit better, because I was like, okay, here we go. Like,
right.
This is the jokes I'm wanting to see. I want to see this shit, man. Yeah.
So he gets back home. He convinces her to go back in time. She says yes. They go back in time. They go to the concert. They're having a good time.
Right.
M.O.D.O.K even kills some people so she can get up by the stage.
He said, you hold my wife or you die. Like, oh my god.
Right. She's in the process of doing a stage dive. And you know, people are holding her. She's riding on top of them, and then all of a sudden,
M.O.D.O.K, he leaves.
He basically bounces.
And then you see a guy say, "You should go follow him. It's just my opinion."
Right?
Like, what the fuck? Like, who are you?
But he goes off, and he's basically also, while back in time, planning on killing.
Austin.
Austin.
Yeah, because he said he was allergic to strawberries, so he literally had a go-gurt of strawberry. He said, "Don't want to kill a child." I'm like, bro, are we really doing this?
Slow down.
Oh, sorry.
Like, he jumps like 10 minutes ahead all the time. He is so eager to get to the punchline, he can't do the setup for the joke.
I can't set up for the joke. I am so sorry. This is why they love me, because I'm awesome. I am awesome.
I don't even remember where I was at now.
Oh my god, I done ruined this. We gotta take two.
Alright. So he goes to kill Austin, and he gets in the apartment, and
because first I don't know how he got in the apartment, but that's okay. The window. How the hell did he get in there, man?
Well, because Austin told him basically how to.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, he did.
He's like, I lived at this address. My window was over by this place.
Right, he said, "What's your zip code and all that?" And just references and everything, like
right.
He's like all that, yeah.
So they go. He goes and he decides he's going to start killing. Like he puts the
like a Go-Gurt strawberry.
It's like a strawberry Go-Gurt.
He's literally like
it's jelly.
Jelly.
It's jelly in a tube.
And he's just literally.
And he's going to dump the jelly in the kid's mouth, and then he stops and he's like, maybe should I do this? And he's like, on one hand that would make me a kid killer, but on the other hand that means he wouldn't be able to grow old enough to buy AIM. He's like, well, let's see if he's a bad kid. And he like looks around the room. It's like I don't like I love mom thing. Love mom. He's got a statue.
He's got like a bakery thing, like where he won like a Top Chef bakery, and it's like, oh, he's not even that child.
And then he has a statue that was called like the littlest, biggest donor, bone marrow donator or something like that.
Bone marrow donator or something. Yeah. He wasn't even a bad child.
He's a stand-up fucking child. Right. I don't know what happened.
Right. Bingo.
But then he's like, fuck it.
Right.
And
yeah, he's
getting ready to kill him anyways, and then his wife hops in the window.
Oh God.
And they get into this little argument.
They argue, and he still tries to do it.
Right.
He's like, "Are you still arguing? Are you still trying to kill? He's still killing."
And yeah,
like, he's still trying to do it.
She looks at him. She's like, "Stop trying to kill him while I'm talking to you."
He's literally trying to pour that bitch on his like. He's really trying to still kill him. Like,
which at that point, the past version of himself, which makes a reoccurring appearance, by the way.
Yes, he does.
Throughout the episode, throughout the series.
Yeah.
Sneaks in and actually starts arguing with present day M.O.D.O.K.
Right.
Because he's like, you went and got married and became basically this wuss.
Yeah, he basically said this is what I'll become. He didn't like that.
That didn't accomplish the goals that he had set out to accomplish in life.
Right.
So they get into this little fight.
Yeah, they started duking it out for a little bit. Yeah.
And then after the fight ends,
he it's like the glass shard, it's broke in a million pieces.
Right. Yeah. So the glass shard breaks.
It breaks and it went right into his.
And it goes into his face. And
Jesus.
the portal opens and he gets pulled into the portal.
And I said, "Oh, okay, well that's it, young M.O.D.O.K."
And this is past M.O.D.O.K.
Or past M.O.D.O.K. Well, yeah, young M.O.D.O.K. past M.O.D.O.K. Yeah. And they were like, "What?"
So then,
like they were freaking out, man.
Right. So then his wife's like, "I can't believe this." And M.O.D.O.K's like, "I know. He didn't wake up at all for the fight."
Right. He was still.
He's like, he's always well rested.
Right. He's always well rested. Yeah, that fight scene was cool though. It was interesting to meet your past. Because then they were saying, "Well, doesn't this like affect like anything else or something?" And it's like
they explain later that it doesn't.
Right.
So, anyways, so they get mad and decide to go their separate ways.
Right. Yeah, she got pissed. Yeah.
And after they go their separate ways, he basically struggles to maintain. He's like living in Walmart. Eating the meatballs from the back.
Wife, it's like a meatball wife. He said, "You want to try?" I'm like, I'm calling the police.
And he decides at that point, like, he's going to rob himself, which is a funny moment because he's like,
got a nice place.
He's like, I don't really have any money, but I used to. And he puts the fucking mask on.
That was so
and all of a sudden you hear behind, M.O.D.O.K,
like,
are you really trying to rob us? And it's his wife who came with him.
Oh God.
So they start arguing in the bush because he was about to rob them.
But literally, he was ready to go.
They look inside and they realize that Melissa had been born, which is why they missed the concert.
Right. First it was like the pregnancy. He was gonna shoot himself.
Well,
he was gonna shoot himself.
No, she says, I realize now why we missed the concert.
He said, She said she's pregnant. He said, pregnant?
Yeah.
He's like,
He's like, I found out, this is when we found out I was pregnant with Melissa.
He was going to shoot himself in the head, bro.
And he says, what was the joke he cracks before that, though?
Oh, shit.
He says, time to dig a grave for my future or something like that.
Yeah, he was ready. He was ready to die. He was like, I'm done,
and then they switch back and M.O.D.O.K and, present day M.O.D.O.K and Jody were just talking in the bushes. And then they pan back, and you see he's like trying to put a gun to his head, and she's holding his arm, and he's like, ah!
He's like, I don't want to do this no more.
Oh
shit, that's crazy, man.
So
yeah, this actually episode wasn't that bad for me.
They eventually get to the point where, so they watch them have the kids, they watch the kids grow up, which have some couple of funny moments involving Melissa, mainly.
Right.
Which Melissa's the daughter, Lou's the son.
Right.
But they have this moment where they're watching themselves and they're getting old, watching themselves get older with the kids.
Right.
And at that point, she realizes she still really cares about M.O.D.O.K.
Right.
And they get to the point where
they were about to go
back into time, and they had already lost their time travel machine, so they jump out like fucking crazy people.
It's like the woodland creatures or
squirrel eating people.
Squirrel eating people. It was like ah.
They come out and they fucking smack the time machine out of their hands.
And all that stuff like that. It just got like
it breaks.
It breaks,
and they start to disappear. And all of a sudden,
we gotta tell them. Like,
Jody, like squirrel eating Jody, looks at him and goes, M.O.D.O.K, we gotta tell him. And he's like, you belong to get, and it stops, and they disappear.
And then M.O.D.O.K's like, to get.
And M.O.D.O.K's like, we belong to get. And all of a sudden, she's like, I don't care. You need to get out of here. Just fucking go.
Yes, they were.
Obviously, the two squirrel eating versions of us just jumped out of the bushes. Right. He's like, so obviously this time travel thing didn't work out.
Yeah. So basically,
just like any of your other plans.
Right. It was like a failed plan.
She's like, get out of here.
And I felt a little bit like, damn, like. Well, damn. Well, shit, M.O.D.O.K, I'm sorry.
And that's something the show does well, is they make you feel bad for M.O.D.O.K. Like, they really, because he tries so hard.
I was say he tries so hard, and yet it doesn't matter.
Right. So then M.O.D.O.K gets his new apartment. He goes on to basically talk about his plan for world domination. Which, at that point, he goes to the bathroom to sing a song from the concert. Yeah. Which is the part you guys have seen in the commercial, the do 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 do.
Yeah, M.O.D.O.K just, damn, he just takes L's on this whole.
And then we see the past version show back up.
Yeah, he came back
in the present day.
Yep, he came back in the present day.
And he decides he's going to take out his future self because his future self became a loser.
It's a pussy. Yeah, he's a loser. Yeah.
And he said he's going to start off with his family.
Yeah, yeah.
And then that's where the episode ended. Like I said, this episode was a little bit better. It had some action. I actually gave this episode an 8.
I gave it a 7. But remember, because it came from a 6 to a 7, so it, like literally, you can see it starting to get really into it. It's this next one we're going to talk about that's going to make me really just like, okay, here we go.
Right.
This next one, like, what?
So like I said, the show gets a little bit better.
Yeah, it really like increasingly like well. So,
right.
Yeah.
So then episode 3 is called Beware What From Portal Comes. And in this episode...
And it goes by that title very well.
So this episode opens up with a dream sequence where M.O.D.O.K is riding on Fin Fang Foom.
Yep. Hello, yeah. Fin Fang Foom. Yeah, the dragon. Yep.
Over his utopia that he's got.
Right.
And then he wakes up to his alarm clock going off. And
it was a damn joy. He said, you didn't have to hit me.
He realizes that it's his weekend with the kids.
Yep. Weekend with the kids.
So the kids come over. Daughter doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, Alyssa's like, I'm out, bro. Like, Jody, can I go with you, Mom? Like, Jody's like, no.
He gets a call from Austin basically saying, hey, there's
he said, he threw something out. He said, oh, look at a hobo. He said, like, a hobo escape room. That's what I said. Okay, Austin.
Right.
You get a Teddy grab. That was good. He said a hobo escape room.
He gets a call from the Gumble guy saying that it's Austin.
Poor Austin.
That there's this like leadership meeting at the hotel at this hotel.
And this is what?
And M.O.D.O.K's the special guest. So M.O.D.O.K and the kids go.
At first they were. Lou was cool. Melissa still wasn't.
Melissa was not cool with being there.
She wasn't cool with it.
Luke camped out in the room though.
Yeah, Luke just said, "Fuck it, I'm making me a fort." And then the concierge is a dick.
Right.
You know what? I don't know who you are.
Yeah. So they get to the seminar, and everyone starts making fun of M.O.D.O.K.
Yeah, and that's when it just because.
And again, you really start to feel bad for M.O.D.O.K.
Even Melissa started laughing. Damn. I mean, I get it, daughter. Damn, but Jesus Christ.
But everyone starts to make fun of him.
Yeah.
But then a couple of people invite him to play golf.
Right.
And at this point, he asks his daughter to help him to get them to like him.
And she said, "Well, I got rules. Well, can I not come back to your place no more?" Like,
and
damn,
yeah, basically,
like
in order for her to help him, he has to agree that she doesn't have to go see him anymore.
And I'm like, dang, that's so really really it's just a spiral, to be honest. Like, it's just
and then he's cool with it.
Yeah, he's cool with it.
So she basically at the golf course teaches him how to make fun of these guys,
right.
and but not directly in front, right. But like just kind of being conniving about it.
Which Melissa is.
She's very smart.
Yeah, she's very smart and evil. Like, I'd probably say more smarter than M.O.D.O.K. Well, M.O.D.O.K is just stupid all around, but very smart.
But all her little tricks it works is little things like, for instance, one of the guys was a little bit heavier than the other two.
Right.
So M.O.D.O.K went and complimented the other two,
making... yeah, how did you get your figure or, body like that? So I want to get my body like that. He just, they all felt down. Like, he felt down. Like, he kept attacking, like, every weakness about them, so...
Right. And then they actually end up liking him.
Yeah, they said, "Come, like,
they
come to the party."
They crave his attention. So the next day, he gets there. The 3 business people. No, that was at the golf course. That night after the golf course,
right.
He goes back to the seminar for the second night.
Right.
And people continue to make fun of him. So instead of, he gets frustrated because he wants to speed things up. He wants people to like him now.
And the daughter was saying, like, don't do that. Like, listen.
The daughter was saying, play the long game.
Play the long game.
Play the long game.
Like, I don't want to play the long game. I want them to praise me now for who I am. And I'm like, well, this is going to end so fucking bad right now.
Right. So he has this portal. Yep. And his plan is to bring the brood creatures from the brood planet in, kill them.
Oh, yeah, everyone. Did you see the scroll? Did you see the scroll for the first, like, when he was looking through? Yeah, just up that right there. But yeah,
so he wants to bring the brood creatures through.
Mm-hmm.
So he activates the portal to go to their planet.
Right.
But that's not who comes through.
They're called Seagramites? Is that what they're called?
Seagramites.
Seagramites.
They're Seagramites.
And they're like, oh yeah, what's up? Like, They coming in there like rolling.
So yeah, the Seagramites show up.
Man, let's party.
And they're basically a race of parties that parties living beings to death.
And this is how it got me though, because dude was doing limbo, and you can hear that. Okay, oh my god. It actually started to shit on me. Like his back just broke because I guess because he didn't take a break. He just kept limboing and limboing till his back just snapped.
Yeah, so a bunch of people ended up dying.
Oh yeah, it was bad. And the board of directors, they didn't give a damn. They was like, oh okay, like this is
right.
All right, they didn't give a shit.
M.O.D.O.K finds a way to convince them all to basically take off their shells.
So he can hit them because he wasn't when he hit him. They were
because his blast wasn't actually hitting through their shells.
It was like juicing them up, or he's like,
no, it was just knocking them off.
It's not, knocking. Okay.
It just wasn't hurting them.
Right.
So they all take off their shells. He blasts them all.
Right.
Kills them all.
Kills them all.
However, there's only like 1 or 2 people from the party that survived.
Yep.
Austin being one of them, unfortunately. He ends up.
He said, like, "Damn it, Austin, you didn't die from this shit."
He ends up reading when they're getting ready to leave the hotel. He scans his daughter, and this is where you find out Melissa craves the acceptance of her dad, but hates herself for craving it.
Yeah.
Is basically what the little thing showed as far as her character type. And M.O.D.O.K found this out. So when they get back to their place, their mom's there to pick them up, and they're getting ready to leave. And he tells her that she doesn't have to come back over if she doesn't want to. He's going to honor his side of the agreement.
And that's all about. He still honors it, even though all this shit fucked up and everything. He still honors it. You don't have to come back if you don't want to.
Right. And they end up leaving, and after he leaves, he says, "Guess I'll play the long game."
Right.
Hoping to get back in the good graces of his daughter.
Right.
And then
here we go.
We see
Austin doing some. He started doing. I thought Austin he opens the door and that's when he sees the Nexus people.
Yeah, but what's the do?
I thought he was just like do. Then he opens the door and he just opens. Like he was walking. He was like.
Oh, so you're trying to bring out the joke that didn't matter, and I'm just talking about the plot progression.
I thought that joke mattered for me.
It's okay, Ralph. We love you. So he do. He
didn't like me.
No, it was stupid.
Because he got so confused. Like, that was in the. Yes, it was. He went. Oh, okay. I was like, it was like a joke. I was like, oh, okay. He's like, is nobody not gonna question the fact that he just opened up a random ass door? Like, okay.
It was an elevator.
It was an elevator. So like, okay.
So he walks in the elevator.
He didn't like do, ladies and gentlemen. He just said. So that's stupid, Ralph. That's the childish shit we're talking about.
And there are these 3 evil beings that they don't actually have the name for yet.
They don't even have a face. Or they have a face, but they don't have like eyes or nothing.
They basically just have forms of people, but they're not actual people. They kind of look like shadows, but like fuzzy shadows. You end up finding out they're the Hive, some sort of Hive group, which I think they probably pulled off of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as far as the idea.
Yeah. Right.
I could be wrong, but then again, Patton Oswalt was an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so it wouldn't surprise me.
Like, I can see that happening. And they're like, we need to know. Like, they were, like, trying to be all evil and secret and shit. Like,
But yeah, so that's how that episode ends. And I actually gave this episode a 9.
I gave it an 8.
I thought it was super solid.
I gave it an 8. Now, here we go.
Now.
Are you guys ready for the big one? This is going to be a great one. This is the episode that's...
Episode 4. This is where I started to realize I really liked this show.
Oh, yeah.
I really liked the show.
Just... I watched episode 4 like 3 times. Like, it's that good, man.
This episode is called If Saturday Be for the Boys.
Right.
And we start the episode off with M.O.D.O.K realizing he has a weekend with no work, no kids. And he decides... He realizes he has, I think he said, something like 74 hours... to do everything he's ever wanted.
Right.
And he ends up like watching the entire Wire series as well as learning how to play guitar. In like 10, 15 seconds.
Right.
And he's like, what am I going to do with the other 72 hours and so many minutes?
He said like, and then Adaptroid was like, you can't got me. He's like, no. Like, damn, he really don't want to hang out with Adaptroid.
Adaptroid's like, you should drink with me. And he's like, no, I'm going to go drink with some of my friends.
Right.
So he bounces. And he goes, I don't remember what the name of the bar is that he originally went to. Soho or something like that.
Yeah, but it's like a very, very high quality...
Villain bar.
Is
basically what it is. And when he gets there, he's told by the leader and Mr. Sinister that he's basically a C-list villain and isn't allowed.
Yeah, and once again, it's one of those things like, damn, you even got kicked out of the main club itself.
But if he manages to get Cap's shield, Captain America... they will let him in, but for now, he has to go to the
bar with no name?
Well, he says he has to go somewhere else.
Oh, yeah,
the receptionist tells him, basically, that all the people that can't get into this bar go to a place called the Bar with No Name, which is an actual bar in the Marvel Universe.
Really?
It's where Sabretooth usually hangs out.
Whoa. Okay. I didn't. Wow.
A lot of villains hang out there.
But that's
It's a real bar in the Marvel Universe. It's just called the Bar with No Name.
Oh, shit.
As a matter of fact, if you ever play the Spider-Man game on the PlayStation, you can actually find the Bar with No Name.
Oh, that's dope. Okay.
It's one of the sites. So.
Oh, and, okay. I thought maybe it's just like something they see. You learn so much, guys. I'm still new to this comic thing. Still came from movies to comics, but that's pretty interesting that that's a part of that. That's what's up.
I'm pretty sure the Soho or whatever the fuck it's called is also another bar in the Marvel Universe.
Right.
I'd never heard of that one. So they get there, and he meets up with this group of like no-name villains. And while they're in there, Whirlwind shows up. Which if you don't remember who Whirlwind is, guys, he's the guy that was casually tornadoing down the street.
He said, "Did you just shoot at me?" He's like, "Yeah."
In Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Oh man,
we talked about it last week.
I love it. Whirlwind was in there. I said, "Hey."
I was like, he's the only one in that bar I know.
That should not even have no name. He actually has a fucking name. It's a weird name, but I take it. I dig it.
They end up beating Whirlwind's ass because he like unplugs the fucking jukebox, which pisses off the screamer dude.
Yeah, anger or something. He just went, and he blasts him out there.
He blasts them. Everyone takes their hits. Pound Cake ends up throwing him out the window.
Literally.
And then at this point, M.O.D.O.K decides he's going to use them to get Cap's shield. And he tells them he's basically going to pay them each enough money for 2 of them to have one pontoon boat.
And then
he's like, fine, 10 pontoon boats for all of you. And they're like, that's too much. Is this even real? And he's like, fine, back down to half a pontoon boat apiece.
And why just half?
And they're like, yeah, pontoon boat, let's go.
Oh my god, why half, bro? What?
So they have this meeting to discuss the heist.
Right.
But it is quite literally constantly interrupted by the most absolute bizarre shenanigans. Whether it's Armadillo trying to run the meeting even though it's M.O.D.O.K's meeting.
And he's literally like, okay, answer. Like, wow.
People constantly wanting meatloaf.
It's the
Nightloaf. It's the place called Nightloaf.
Fuck. And it's our meatloaf. Like, what's happening? They really are into this thing, bro.
But then, as things finally wind down, they find out they have to go to the pawn shop to get 10 Pins Exploding Pins back.
Right, because he sold them.
So they go. M.O.D.O.K ends up trading one of his blades that he has on his suit for the pins.
And this dude.
And the pawn shop owner ends up licking it and cutting his tongue off.
I mean, he thought, and then M.O.D.O.K's like, are you sure you want to do that? He said, yeah, I'm fine. But whoa, he literally cut
M.O.D.O.K's like, dude, you shouldn't be doing that.
And he's cutting like his fingers and everything out, bro. Like, I don't understand.
So M.O.D.O.K then gets the pins, and you constantly see the shop owner constantly cutting himself, cutting body parts off.
Cuts back. He cuts like his fingers, his arm, his hand. He's like, oh, I love this.
And then he says, then the guys then decide that they want to get matching jackets. And this part had me rolling so hard because they decide they're going to get matching jackets, and they all are trying to figure out a name for their group. And Armadillo, out of nowhere, is like, yeah, I think we should call ourselves Armadillo's Fist Force 5.
Armadillo.
I laughed.
And he said Armadillo? Like, oh, God.
M.O.D.O.K's like, no, team names are stupid. Wait a minute. Did you just say Armadillo?
Armadillo? And I like how M.O.D.O.K just acknowledges that shit. Like, what did he just say? What did he just say, bro?
So then Armadillo realizes that there's a ring. It reminds him of his ex-wife.
And what the fuck?
They make it seem like it's the wife that his ex-wife turned back in, so he ends up going
and then he
steals
it. And then
yeah, he steals it and burrows to go confront his ex-wife. So they're gone.
He's like, you gotta go leave.
And the pawn shop owner gets super pissed.
Reminds you,
he cuts his arm off and then leaps over the counter and is like chasing people. And I'm like, this dude is nuts.
He said, you guys gotta go. Oh my god, he's literally fucking just. It's like you see the camera literally like.
Like somebody dropped the camera. It fell on the ground.
Somebody dropped the camera.
So then.
He said, that dude crazy. That dude crazy.
They end up escaping. They decide they need a vehicle. Nobody has a vehicle, so M.O.D.O.K calls his stupid Adaptoid. His Adaptoid comes.
10 Pins said, I got a vehicle that don't work.
Oh no, 10 Pins was, I live in my vehicle, but it doesn't work.
What the fuck?
They casually pan throughout this episode. It's honestly, until the very end, towards the end of the episode, is kind of pointless that they even keep showing it happening.
Yeah.
But M.O.D.O.K's wife is in AIM looking for him.
Yeah, this was a side story I didn't care about. It's okay. But.
Because their son, she always thought he had a peanut allergy.
Yeah, he was eating stuff on
and
YouTube.
he goes on YouTube and he's like eating paydays and nothing is happening to him. So she's trying to figure out if there's... Honestly, she was going in hopes that he could delete the video off of the internet.
Right. Then he bumps into
Monica. And she ends up running into Monica and they end up drinking.
And she just gets
wasted. They talk to each other about basically shit-talking M.O.D.O.K.
Like they always do.
And then she basically tells her that she can fix it. So we'll come back to that.
Right.
Everyone in the van goes to pick up Armadillo.
And this... this fight too.
This part was so hilarious.
Oh, it was the monkey dude that said, "I surrender."
It's the stupid monkey dude we were making fucking fun of from Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
I surrender. This motherfucker.
And he comes out.
And he just goes away.
Well, she's on the porch yelling at him.
He said, "You gotta go,"
because she's like, we've been broken up for 8 years. You never got me a ring. And he's like, well, this is what I thought I would get you.
Like, why would Armadillo? You can't, bro.
And so finally, she screams for dude to come out.
Right.
He comes out and he's wearing this kimono, but you see this blurred out. You
see it at first.
Well, you can't see it at all.
Yeah, no, yeah. Oh,
it's blurred out.
Yeah, I know it's blurred out, but I was like, at first I know I was looking down there. I was like, what the hell?
But he's got this long dong.
Right. And he's like, let's go.
That's just waving around as he moves.
Waving as he's moving. Just waving it.
And the guy's like, tie your robe shut. And he's like, this is a kimono. This is how it's supposed to be worn.
That whole scene made me laugh, like, badly, bro.
And so finally, she goes in the house, tells him to come inside, tells Armadillo to leave. And when dude goes in the house, he closes the door, but it's only the top half of the door, so the bottom half stays open. And you still see
he did that to fuck with me. He's like, oh my god.
He's like, he installed that door on purpose.
On purpose to fuck with me. That was so fucked up. That whole scene was fucked up, man.
But basically, this all boils down, this whole segment boils down to M.O.D.O.K having an honest, intimate moment with every member of this team for one reason or another.
Yeah.
And kind of building this bond with them to try and talk them through all the shit they're going to, except for when it comes time for Pound Cake.
Yeah.
It didn't really work with her.
Right.
And it's also, he had fucked up and basically came out and said,
I'm using you guys.
I'm basically using you guys to get Cap Shield.
And they were like, what?
And so they were like, oh, you're only using us? Well, we're not cool with that. We're leaving.
Right.
So they bounce.
Hey!
And while this happens,
yeah, they bounced in.
The Adaptoid vehicle gets stolen from some teenagers.
Well, because the anger screamer dude fucked with it. He said, oh, he got a crossbow. Oh yeah, they came back and fucked with him.
Right.
Oh god.
So they all get mad. They leave.
Yep.
And then this is when they go back and they find out M.O.D.O.K's Jody ends up giving Lou an actual peanut allergy. She's
not Jody, Monica. Remember she shows him down.
Monica gives Lou a peanut allergy.
And I can't believe Jody just lets that just...
I will mix their names up for the entirety of this video.
No, that's why I'm here to help out, because I'm awesome. But I'm like, Jody, you just gonna let... I mean, damn. I mean, I get it, but I like how I saw it. I was like, so you just gonna let him just get hit by that? Oh, now he has peanut allergy. Wow, Jody, you are terrible. Really, she's actually a terrible character. I don't understand, like, what did you... I mean, I guess dies, but we'll get into that later. Like, I don't understand.
So then we pan back. We see M.O.D.O.K trying to basically get a ride to somewhere, but he happens to glance over and sees the building of Nightlove, which he thought was fake this entire time.
Right.
And then it goes inside, and you see the group of supervillains that had left M.O.D.O.K sitting at a table.
Right.
The main guy that runs the business comes up and is like, are you guys here for the loafs? Yeah, and they're like, sorry, we don't have the money for it. He's like, don't worry, it's already been paid for by the guy crying in the corner.
Crying depressed man in the corner.
Or the crying dude on the toilet.
On the toilet. He said on the toilet. Oh, my God.
And so then they have this moment where they're kind of going back and forth where they're like, oh, we're just supposed to, like you now that you've bought us food and this and that.
Right.
And M.O.D.O.K's like, nah, I'm just, I'm trying to let you guys know I do apologize. I should have been up front.
Right. This dude got him reconciled. This shows you how much he started really improving as a character on me when I started watching. And it's like, so we're only, episode 4? And I said, yeah, he's trying, man.
They then are supposed to go complete the heist because they're just going to hang the shield up inside the bar with no name.
No name, yeah.
But then they also realize, like, they end up falling asleep on the train.
They went on the train.
So at the very end, they end up on the beach.
Right.
Just sitting there talking. Melter finally tells
him about like
M.O.D.O.K what the name of
his grilled cheese
like
stand. Yeah.
Well, his grilled cheese drivable truck
was
what the name was going to be.
We never really knew what it was. He just.
But then Melter, after everyone gets up to leave,
he's like,
Melter's still sitting there. And M.O.D.O.K goes back. He's like, Melter, dude, come on. And then all of a
sudden,
sudden,
some food.
He taps him on the shoulder,
went, oh.
And Melter just falls over, dead. Which he'd been sick the entire episode.
Yeah, he was. It was like a slow progression. Like he was. Yeah. We didn't know when he was gonna go, but yeah.
And then at the very end, we see that at some point, the Adaptoid had been impounded.
Yeah, because the kids, they done fucked up the whole...
And so he's still in vehicle form in the impound lot.
Right, and he's like, sir, there you are.
And past M.O.D.O.K comes up, grabs him, turns him back into his Adaptoid self to kidnap him, and then takes him.
Right.
And that's how that episode ended.
All I have to say for this episode is they treat Adaptoid like shit, but this...
They treat him like shit the entire fucking series.
I'm not sure it's the entire fucking shit, but like the one time, how about this? The one time he called him for a ride, he literally sat there and just looked at the phone. And hello, like he literally was just like, yo, hi, like I'm here to help, and like, no, we need your car, be a car. That's some fucked up shit.
I gave this episode. This is the first episode I gave a perfect 10.
Yeah, I gave it a 10. Like, yeah,
I thought it was a very entertaining, very solid episode. There's a lot of jokes again that I didn't put in there because I do feel like you guys should go watch it.
Oh yeah.
We'll ruin the stories because I'm that much of a dick, but I do still feel like there needs to be something for you guys to watch it for. So there are a bunch of jokes that were not mentioned.
Yeah, I try to keep it where I don't say too much.
That were absolutely fantastic. And then we get to episode 5, which will be the last one we talk about in this podcast episode. Yeah. And this is called "If Bureaucracy Be Thy Death."
Thy Death. Mm-hmm.
And this is M.O.D.O.K goes to Melter's funeral.
Jesus.
Which is an absolute shit show.
Because it's supposed to be like a sad moment. I guess that's the wife, and then M.O.D.O.K literally just really destroys
fucks up the whole thing.
He's like, oh, sorry, excuse me, hi, is this the family? I'm sitting in front of him. Like, okay.
But he is all of a sudden newly inspired because of his own mortality to kill Iron Man. And he decides he's going to do this by using the black hole gun to make Stark Tower disappear. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a black hole sun dark joke in this whole thing that he did not understand because he had never heard the song before.
They played it for me.
Because he actually goes, black hole gun, won't you come?
He's like, won't you come? He started singing. He started singing it.
And Ralph had no clue.
I was like, sure. So, which is intriguing.
He then also finds out in order to get his black hole gun out of storage, he has to go through a bunch of people.
Jeez, just to get to Dorothy at the end of the road. Like, what the hell, man?
Right. So at the end of the road, he realizes he has to give his pitch, which he gives a pretty good pitch. I'm not going to go into detail on it, but he gives a good pitch.
All right.
And then he finds out it's going to take about 3 months to see if he gets approved by all the Grumble divisions.
Right. It literally, like, wow.
And then we find out Monica is going to be forced to take 3 months off.
Right, because Austin's like, man, I don't know what you're doing in here, but you got to stop here. She's like, what?
Right.
Austin was, I told you, Austin top 3. I'm telling you, this episode, this series.
So he gets told, he basically gets told that, so she gets told that she's gonna have to leave, and she's like, well, I got enough time to finish this before I go for my vacation. Then he's like, no, actually,
yeah, Austin's like, no.
He's like, you've actually got an anger management meeting that you have to go to.
He said, kiss my ass or something. He said some stupid shit.
Yeah, he says.
Kiss my ass.
He says, and if you don't like it, you can eat my ass.
Is what
they don't want you to say.
I was like, what the fuck, bro? Austin, what? Oh man, you cannot tell me you didn't like this character. You can walk. I'm like, yo.
No,
Austin.
dude, I kept hoping he was dying.
I know you wanted to die, but I thought Austin's like, this is not a. You can eat my ass. Is what they want you to say.
They don't want
you to say.
Yeah, because they would never want you to say that.
Right. Oh, yeah.
This is why Ralph is not allowed to talk at work.
I try.
So Monica and M.O.D.O.K team up to get what they basically decide they're going to team up to get what they want.
Right. Yeah.
And through this weirdly sophisticated plan, they decide to send silicone body doubles,
which
don't look anything like them, but everyone feels like it is them.
And they really, so AIM people were just that stupid. They were like, oh, you guys show up to the meeting or whatever.
And then the funniest moment of this entire episode, which again had me and Kat, we were watching it last night, dude, and we were laughing so hard.
Mm-hmm.
So hard. They're having this phone meeting.
Bro.
And it's a delayed conversation,
right,
so
it's
somebody will yell at somebody to shut up,
like,
and then
shut up.
they'll start talking, and then somebody else will be like, "Don't tell so and so to shut up. You shut up." And dude, they go on for
Dorothy's just like
5 minutes doing this fucking thing, and it's hilarious.
And somehow it works. I mean, they kept them in there for about 2 hours, literally.
Right.
Like listening to them talking and shutting up at the same time.
So then M.O.D.O.K eventually hacks Doris's computer.
Right.
He basically unlocks his ability to get his gun. Monica loses all of her paid time, or all of her vacation time.
Right.
And then when they go to leave and he's got his gun in hand, he basically tells Monica, he's like, I could have never done this without you.
And that's what they like. It really was. That's another moment with M.O.D.O.K that you actually like. Like, at least he does feel like he said, dang, because he never would have got this far. And that was
right.
the moment. And then,
but then as he says that, he steps outside and Monica is standing there with Austin and a bunch of AIM soldiers. And they're just standing there.
Right.
And M.O.D.O.K looks confused, and when he turns around, basically he had been working with one of the jelly clones that actually did look more realistic.
I was like, that's what I like. That was good.
And they basically show that she betrayed him.
Yeah.
Because at one point he took credit for something she did, and he was like, basically like, it's just better if everybody in AIM thinks that I did this. And she repeats that. She's like, it's just better if everyone in AIM thinks that you did this.
Right. It basically was haunting her for since he even said it's still 2009, but I did it anyway. Like, hey,
right.
Okay. Bullshit.
So then they get in what I consider the most epic scientist fight of all time.
Yo, this fight was lit. Oh man.
It's so hard to tell you everything that happened. There was a Pokemon battle that didn't happen that did happen.
He said, should we continue? And then he went to some Marvel vs. Capcom.
They did a 2D fighting thing for a minute where they were like Marvel vs. Capcoming across the screen.
Like, literally, the fight was lit.
So fantastically done.
Yeah, you gotta see that. You gotta see that episode, bro, to like understand. Like, cause if we go in depth, we're gonna ruin it, bro. We can't really do that, man.
So basically, Monica whoops his ass.
Yeah.
Austin demotes M.O.D.O.K.
Yeah, he demotes him. Yeah.
And promotes Monica to Scientist Supreme.
Yep.
But then, in the process, he takes away her manatee project that she was working on.
Right.
And says that she's going to start working on
those jellies.
The jellies.
Yep. And want to know how you
because a bunch of people want them.
And that's interesting.
Sex toys.
He said, and he kept saying that over.
He kept trying to tell her to make sure they're not sex toys, and that's what people are wanting to use them for.
He said, do not, and he said it was so serious, do not make them have sex with these jellies. Like, oh.
And this is when we actually learn who the elevator people are, because he goes back into the elevator, and this is where we find out he's serving what they're called Nexus, the Living Corporation.
Living Corporation.
And everything that's going on is a part of their plan.
Right.
And then that ends episode 5. I gave this one a 9.
Yeah, I took it with a 9. Like it was
a very solid, funny episode. Honestly, I would have given it an 8, but the scientist fight was so good.
All the religions are wrong.
Yeah, there's a part where he dies. M.O.D.O.K dies. And she's like, oh, hell no. I've been waiting a long time for this.
Oh, my God.
So she sprays him.
Right, with
health spray.
Health spray.
He gets up, and the first thing he says is, all the religions were wrong.
Oh, my God. Like, yo, what?
I was like, this is not right. This is not right.
Shit, bro. It's this fight, bro. I can watch that fight scene all day. Oh, God. He said, and then the guy's like, oh, hey, guys, we got a science fight scene going on. What the fuck?
But we're going to go ahead and end this episode here. Like I said, guys, we've got one more episode coming out in 2 days or 3 days, depending on when this comes out.
Yeah.
It's going to cover the last 5 episodes of the season. Please understand, it's the best half of the show, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It has the best episode. It starts off with the best episode in the show, in my opinion. So be here next week not next week, in a couple days, when we drop this next episode. Absolutely hilarious.
This series,
This series is a very solid series, but we're not going to give you our overall opinions yet.
Oh, we're not.
Watch the next episode for that.
Right.
Watch the next episode.
Because you're awesome people.
Or
Watch
listen.
the next episode.
If you're listening on, Spotify or Google. Or
we're everywhere,
wherever.
man.
We're everywhere. But yeah, so if you choose not to come to that episode, please remember, next week we are coming back to
Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Yeah.
Where we will watch the next 5 episodes and cover those. And then I think we'll be on Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes until Loki starts.
Right, until Loki starts.
But I think it actually ends right before Loki starts.
Right.
So we'll basically be going from Avengers to Loki, which will be back to that 1 episode a day until the series is over.
Right. We'll be back to our regular scheduled
We'll
program.
be back to normal. So be on the lookout for that. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we love y'all.
Thank you for watching us. We're
Thank
awesome.
you for taking your time to spend with us, and we will see all of you people next time. Excelsior!
Excelsior. Bye-bye.